There's nothing I love more than girls in the bathroom culture. I have made my greatest friends in the span of 30 seconds, and I'll never see them again, where I know about their dating history, who they're about to have sex with. You'll give them a tampon, you'll give them life advice, you'll give them whatever they need. I give them $100 million if I had it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to And Just Like Yap. I am Andy.
I'm Caroline.
And we are here with episode 2 of The Girlfriend. If you missed our episode 1 recap, well, good news, you're in the right place. Just go find it. Girlfriend, episode 2. We were very titillated by episode 1, so let's get into it. Episode 2 opens, we see a yacht from the perspective of somebody who is drowning next to the yacht. Then we see Cherry is in the water asking for help, seemingly drowning.
The flag on the yacht tells us we're in Spain.
Thank you, Caroline, for knowing your flags.
You're welcome.
Do not.
That was a fun fact. A thing I did during the pandemic was learn flags of the world.
You all with your fucking sourdoughs, and this bitch was learning flags. So Cherry's in the water, clearly seemingly drowning and asking for help. So she is the one who was looking at that yacht from half under the water. We see that we are going to start the episode with Cherry's perspective, and we are inside Cherry's open suitcase where she is packing for said Spain trip. Daniel is like, you need to fly business, so I've put 800 pounds in your account. She is packing, and her cute little mom comes in. Her. We also get to see more of like Cherry's, I'm assuming, childhood, teenage bedroom. Cherry is packing, and she's like, I hate all of my clothing. Classic moment for anyone packing a suitcase for a trip. All of a sudden, I don't have anything that I want to put on my body. So Cherry says she hates all of her clothes, and then she immediately runs off to go shopping.
Correct.
And I had a tickle of a thought that immediately came to fruition when we find out that she takes SpeedyJet. So we can infer that she pocketed the rest of the money to go shopping and took a cheaper flight. So she took SpeedyJet, arrived at the airport earlier in Spain than the British Airways flight that she was supposed to take. So she takes a look. It's expected at 11:15. So she decides to sit down, have a little nap, falls asleep, wakes up to an elderly Spanish woman telling her to move so she can sit down. And so Cherry's like, oh shit, I have to go pretend that I was just on this British Airways flight. It's a lot of lying very early in a relationship on something that's seemingly kind of innocuous.
I think Daniel would have been understanding of, but I will say, I don't know how she fell asleep like that on those chairs. That was also what I was thinking about. I was like, literally, I've tried to do that. We've all tried to sleep in those chairs. And if you're able to sleep in those, I applaud you. But yeah, overall, we're setting a weird tone, and Laura, from her POV, is already a bit suspect of her. So it's just already not building a great foundation, I think, for this family holiday she's about to join on.
But Cherry ventures off to the bathroom. She opens her suitcase, and we find that she has been reading reviews about Laura's show, and that Laura's show was not well received. I can't imagine why not. It was just Dong City. And we are in the nicest airport bathroom I have ever seen in my life. What is this porcelain tiling?
Here's what I'll say though. I'm obsessed with this girl though. There's nothing I love more than girls in the bathroom culture. I have made my greatest friends in the span of 30 seconds, and I'll never see them again, where I know about their dating history, who they're about to have sex with, and do we think they're a good guy? There's nothing that unites women more than being in the bathroom together. You'll give them a tampon, you'll give them life advice, you'll give them whatever they need. I give them $100 million if I had it. I love women in the bathroom. I love it.
I do too. It is a sacred space. It really, really is. I also really love this interaction. And we find out that Cherry speaks some Spanish.
Yes.
She is feeling herself, and why wouldn't she be? She looks stunning. Stunning. It reminds me of in Sex and the City when she's like, I want to arrive in Paris fresh and impossibly stunning.
You can't do that coming from North America to
No.
Europe, but country to country in Europe, I think you're able to do that a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. Although I always just feel like a sack of garbage after I get off a plane, even if it was like a 45-minute flight.
Amen.
So Daniel picks her up at the airport and he's like, you look like a fucking movie star. And she absolutely does. And of course she just plays it off and is like, whatever, as if like she didn't just go through enormous effort to look this way. Cherry quickly manages to rip off the Speedy Jet tag before Daniel gets a chance to see it, so her cover is not blown. They are in the car on the way to the villa.
Which made me think of, I was like, oh no, it already sounds like he's an activity guy. Now this is my worst nightmare, is you dating someone new and you find out they're an activity family. Like they run the 5K on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's all
the
like
gobble,
physical.
the turkey trot, the gobble.
Yeah, the turkey trot, and you're like, oh God, you're like, now I'm rappelling off caves. Like it's just very physical. Like I just want to sit. I want to drink and I want to sit and I want to be in a hot tub and be left alone.
Yeah, no. And this is about to come up too because they end up playing tennis. I'm like, she just got off the plane. Like, make her play tennis.
They paddleboard. Like, it's so many. I was like, who said this was relaxing?
I'm all about like have fun on vacations, have new experiences, but like we need to have some like designated nothing time. We've arrived at the villa and Cherry immediately is telling Laura that she thought the show was brilliant. And here's where you start to see like some machinations happening with Cherry, where like clearly in her bag she had the art magazine that like right on the cover that was like Laura's Dong Show was bad. You can take this a couple different ways of like, oh, I'm going to get in good with her by like, I'm going to say I liked it and like pretend that I don't know that like people don't like it. Or you can take it the more positive way of like, she's probably feeling really insecure. So like, I'm going to build her up because like, that's what gals do. It kind of works on Laura a little bit because then she's like, I'm really looking forward to getting to know you. But then immediately Cherry overhears that Daniel's like, thank you for letting Cherry come. And Laura's like, you didn't give me a choice, which I don't know why the people in this family, do rich people not know how to like lower their voices or like close their mouths? Like,
no,
they keep...
They don't care. Their opinion,
don't.
They don't care. They want other people to hear.
Not a great thing to overhear, especially after you have the one shred of hope that you have been given from your significant other's mother.
Okay, so we have the stares from Robin, but Olivia's eyes, like, she does good bug out eyes that they use. They really use a lot in this one, where it's a lot of like.
We come to learn that Isabella and Brigitte are also on the trip, and of course Laura is like, thank God you're here, because like, how awful that I have to deal with Cherry. Cherry is like to Daniel, like, wait a minute, you did not tell me that they were going to be here. And then he's like, well, they come every year, it's fine. It's like, yeah, but like, why? She wouldn't know that. Why would she know that?
Right. Like, she's clearly already nervous about this whole situation. She already feels like she's on the outskirts of everything, and this only helps isolate her further.
I think it also just goes to show that, like, men are often very, very, very unaware of, like, there are so many things going on between women that are, like, fully body language, fully vibes, that they are just not picking up on. Like, it reminds me of, like, Mission Impossible, like, all the, like, lasers.
Yes!
Like, the laser detectors that you can't see. Like, there's all these invisible strings. There's all these things going on. So, like, Cherry being like, you didn't tell me they were coming, i.e. Isabella was, like, super rude to me when we first walked into the house. And, like, I don't know her daughter, but her daughter's probably also going to be rude to me. Correct. She's also your mom's greatest ally, and your mom doesn't like me. So, like, these are things that, like, Daniel's like, what's the big deal? Like, they're nice. Who cares? And it's like, buddy, you are not seeing all of the dimensions.
No,
like,
you're not seeing the forest from the trees. I hope my girl has a strong beta blocker prescription, and she's just, like, popping that in and just going.
Seriously, like, I would have had to get my Ativan prescription refilled before this, 100,000%. And then Brigitte is like, oh my God, turns out we worked out that we were on the same British Airways flight. And of course, Cherry is like immediately like deer in the headlights about this. They're like, wait a minute, we didn't see you on the flight. What the hell? And then of course, Brigitte is immediately trying to stir up some shit. Remember when Brigitte used to corridor creep into Daniel's room? And Brigitte's like, yeah, sorry, Cherry, sloppy seconds. What the fuck? Like, these rich people have absolutely no decorum whatsoever. Like, that is a crazy thing. I mean,
it's very like Saltburn, like when Barry
it's
Keoghan
so
comes in and is just like, and they like have the wildest dinner there. So I think that's just I don't know. I think at a certain tax bracket, it's like nothing's uncouth to them.
Also, again, though, like leaning into this sort of like, I know these are friends of the family, but it's very familial. Like they're very familiar.
Mm-hmm.
To like bring this up feels weird. It feels like we're approaching incestuous territory. Like, why are we this comfortable with each other in mixed company? Weird. Ugh. If I had just gotten off a flight, even if it was a pretty brief flight, and even if I had supposedly been flown business class, okay, to make me then play tennis.
It's sick. It's evil.
It's so diabolical. It's so rude. Who does that? Like, don't you always say to people, you must be exhausted from your flight? Like, do you want to go freshen up? Do you want to go take a nap? Tennis? This is so mean.
I know.
This is so mean. And Cherry pulls the old, I forgot my hair tie. I have to go back, but you go ahead. Move.
And you start to hear the White Lotus sounds underneath when she goes into the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So she is going to return the bracelet, and she had the somewhat ingenious but also very risky idea of returning it to the Spain house to make Laura think that like she just misplaced it. And the housekeeper sees her sneaking it in to Laura's little wooden jewelry drawer thing. You can tell by her face that she doesn't trust her at all now. Again, like, this much lying early in the relationship is not only bad, it's also forcing you to do an insane amount of mental gymnastics to remember, like, what have I told people about myself? We get to the tennis court and Brigitte is like asking Daniel why he has chest hair and touching him, and like, that's a little bit weird, especially if you're Cherry. And Isabella is just a shitster. I mean, I live for it. Like, she's so funny and fun. Also, oh my God, like this setup next to the tennis court, like you've got like cold beverages and a cushy couch. Like, this is just, we are living.
It's wealth. This is wealth with a capital W. It's great.
Seriously. But Isabella is, of course, like, wait a minute, you don't know how to play tennis, Cherry? Wasn't tennis mandatory at St. Florian's? I'm sure that's probably true of some, like, bougie private schools, but mandatory tennis is fucking crazy. At this point, doesn't matter if it's true or not, because Isabella is clearly on a mission to make Cherry feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of Olivia Cook's incredible eye acting, I had to get a screenshot of this because they're warming up and Brigitte says, like, come and get me, I'm wide open. This face, which is the only appropriate reaction to somebody saying that to your significant other.
I know.
Regardless of how close friends they are. They're playing tennis. Cherry's pretty bad at it. And I don't think she's faking being bad at it. Like,
I don't think so
she genuinely is bad at it. Cherry takes a shot and it goes right into Brigitte's solar plexus. Into the stomach, groin area, knocks the wind right out of her. And then this is wild. The housekeeper is like, that didn't look like an accident to me. And Laura's like, no, it definitely didn't. Not a great look. And then the housekeeper goes on to say, like, I don't like her. Like, I've got a gut feeling, and you know my gut is never wrong. Interesting that she said that. How many other girlfriends have been put through this horrible routine at this Spain house?
Probably quite a few, but especially based off of what she said in the sauna, the episode previous. It's probably more than you would think.
We never say that this is the first time that Daniel's brought somebody to Spain, and the fact that the housekeeper is like, my gut isn't wrong about people, like, leads me to believe that, like, some shit has already gone down here, like.
For sure.
And then they go back to their room, and Cherry's like, that was weird, it made me really uncomfortable. Like, why did, like, I have to find out that way that you and Brigitte have hooked up in the past. Daniel's like, it was so long ago, it, like, really doesn't matter. And then he says, honestly, she's, like, the closest thing I have to a sister, because he thinks that's going to make Cherry feel better. And she very appropriately says, well, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, because you put your penis inside her.
Yeah, like, we don't say sister about people we used to have sex with. Like, I get that it was probably when they were, like, teenagers, or maybe, like,
right.
I don't know, maybe, like, early 20s, whatever, but, like, still.
It's also interesting because then we're, like, sort of going back to, like, the Rose stuff a little bit, because it shows that he doesn't really think of Rose.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he wouldn't say that if he had the actual experience of having a sister, probably. As the viewer, your first thought is, ooh, that's fucking weird. And then she says it, and you're like, thank you, good.
We're seen, you see us.
Yes, we feel seen. And it's these moments that make you sort of get on Cherry's side, as diabolical as she has been so far. You're like, well, she's like us. She's not so exorbitantly wealthy that she goes around being like, yeah, we used to have sex, but she's a sister.
Exactly.
Cherry requests that they have some alone time, so they head off biking.
So they were biking.
Because apparently we have not done enough physical activity today after we've taken a cross-country flight. What is going on? Why are these people so active? I hate it.
It's too much. This is not Outward Bound. Like, can we not just sit at a vineyard and drink wine?
We end up at this beautiful waterfall situation, and Cherry admits, like, I feel like I don't fit in. I feel like I'm not good enough. And Daniel's like, no, you're good enough. Like, I like you exactly as you are. Like, don't worry about it. And Daniel has decided, since Cherry was so concerned about him having previously hooked up with Brigitte, that he would make a list of all of his quote-unquote conquests. I'm assuming this is a list of all the people he's had sex with.
Yeah.
How would you feel if someone you were, like, newly dating was, like, hands you their phone and is like, here's all the people I had sex with?
I mean, it's, like, twofold. It's like, okay, I'm glad you're being so transparent with me and, like, that you feel like you have nothing to hide. But also, it's like there's a little bit of mystery of, like, I don't need to know all of this. It's like, I think maybe it would be nice to be like, okay, I'm glad you want to tell me all of this, but also I'm okay, like, not knowing.
Yeah, I think the gesture of, like, I feel great about the fact that you want to be this open with me.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I like knowing about, like, previous people that, like, people I've, like, dated in the past have dated, just because, like, I think it gives me, like, an ego boost to be like, look at all these people who didn't work out, and here I am.
Totally. Yeah.
But as we go on to see, this list is absolutely wild. But, like, again, Olivia Cooke, incredible facials, incredible eyes. Like, she's so pumped. She's like, oh yeah, give me that phone. Love it.
Yeah.
She says then that she's going to do her list, but we never see that happen. So on this list that Daniel gives her, she's like, who is Mrs. Thomas? And he says, my clarinet teacher. Now, Cherry decides to take this moment to make a joke and be like, you played the clarinet? And Daniel's like, that's clearly the least interesting part of that anecdote. I would say we need to take a moment here and say that the fact that he has had sex with an adult who, presumably, if it's his clarinet teacher, I have to assume that he was, like, either still in high school or, you know, like, he was definitely... Yeah. It was definitely, like, an abuse of power. I don't know. This gives us some context. Like, doesn't really give you a good vibe after seeing him in the sauna with his mommy.
No. Yeah, there's definitely, like, an affinity for older women and, like, being told what to do. That's, like, at least the version of Daniel we're getting. It's, like... Yes. From their POVs, it's like he likes to be told what to do by the women in his life. He
likes to be given advice on how to use his clarinet.
Yeah. That would win. Do you know what I'm saying?
And then this crazy shot, again, water's a big thing in this episode and probably the whole show. They are kissing over the waterfall, and I was like, she's gonna fall. Like, her back is to the water. Like, this is a very, very vulnerable spot for her to put herself in. So, I don't know, we've got the imagery of the water going. Like, again, we said this in the first episode, like, this show is very literary. Like, this shot was very purposefully, like, they're kissing, romantically, but it is not a romantic shot because
No.
the next logical thing is that she gets shoved into the water.
Of course. And he starts to like seduce her, it feels like, to get out of the conversation.
Yes.
A little bit. It's very pointed. He's like, come on, let's go back to having sex. And while she's talking to him, is the next screenshot her turning off the phone?
It sure is.
Yeah. Which I was like, Cherry,
Yeah.
you're dangling off of the side of a cliff. You're making out with this man, and she's turning off the phone. What can't women do? Women in STEM.
The
Women
core
in STEM.
strength? Women in STEM. The core strength after you've been on a flight playing tennis, biking, and hiking to then like hold yourself up by one arm around his neck. Like we're doing a lot. Like what women can do it all. Like lean the fuck in. But she does this because she sees that Laura is texting him like, remember to come home for dinner.
Yeah.
It's Alphonse's night to cook dinner. And of course then he loses track of time. And he's like, we should go home. They're going to be wondering where we are. And they're having naked fun time in the waterfall. Cherry's like, we're not going anywhere.
We're having sex in the waterfall.
Yeah, like, because, like, I mean, when in Rome. Like,
Yeah, correct. I also had
Yeah.
the thought, I was like, did he not try to turn his phone back on? Like, because it wasn't like it was dying.
I don't believe that. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, he's 27 years old. You're addicted to your phone enough to.
Yeah.
You're not going to take a picture in front of the waterfall. Like, I don't know. I guess when you're having that much sex, maybe your phone doesn't matter
You're
to you.
detached. Yeah.
But yeah. They do indeed lose track of time. They're biking home, and Daniel is behaving like a little boy and is like, watch me do wheelies. And he ends up skidding out on his bike and he scrapes his leg. He's fine. But this is also the first time that we see, like, under her breath, Cherry is like annoyed with him and his behavior, which is perfectly normal because men are fucking annoying, like, even when you love them. Especially when they do shit like this, where you're just like, can you just not make me nervous while you're on a bicycle?
Correct.
I would really appreciate that. It's shot in a very sort of ominous way that makes you think like something bad is going to happen.
Right,
Like, I had a
right.
moment where I was like, the way this is shot is making me nervous. Like, is he about to like have a serious accident and everyone's gonna think it was Cherry's fault?
Yeah.
It ends up being a red herring because like he just scrapes his leg. They come back and Laura is fuming because they missed dinner and it was the private chef who came to cook all of Daniel's favorite things. And she's like, he cooked all your favorites and you both missed the whole thing. And she goes on to like, I don't know, really belittling. She was like, it was just rude. And the thing is, it was, like, obviously, but it feels like she's treating them like little kids and it's, like, uncomfortable. And then she goes on to continue treating Daniel like a little kid because she sees that he scraped his leg and she immediately, like, freaks out and is like, what happened? You could get infected, whatever. The framing of this is, like, so little boy because, like, what do little kids do? They get scrapes.
Yep.
From falling off bikes.
And they run home to mommy.
Okay, so then it is the next morning and Cherry and Daniel are in bed and he's asking for a foot massage. I took this screenshot because I find it so interesting that Cherry is reading Pride and Prejudice.
Correct.
Which, by Jane Austen, it is a classic novel of manners, meaning it is about people of different statuses falling in love or not falling in love and what it means for the family. And similar to the conversation we had in episode 1 about, is it Wallace Simpson?
Yeah, Wallace Simpson. I want to say, clearly Cherry is the Elizabeth Bennet, but, like, to me, I was like, Daniel is not giving Darcy energy. He's giving, like, Mr. Bingley, maybe.
Yeah.
But maybe more like Mr. Wickham. I was just like, this is not, there's nothing about this man that could give me Mr. Darcy on his best day.
Then Cherry is like, your mom went a little too hard with your knee scrape. Like, that was creepy, was it not? This is the first time that we see Cherry sort of like test the boundary a little bit of like,
totally,
can I fully like be honest with you about how I feel about your relationship with your mother? Maybe if I do it like playfully a little bit. And it's a sore spot. I didn't think it was creepy. Like, she just wants to like help people, and most people would say that that's a positive thing. Like,
right.
I don't know. The way he reacted to this, not a good sign for Cherry. Like, we tried it. We tried it. Like, he cannot be told that he has mommy issues. And it leads me to believe that it's possible that other women have tried to tell him this as well if that's his immediate reaction.
And he said, "No, my mommy says I'm the best. What could be so crazy?" Also, I have to say, this bed linen looks like hotel linen, and I can tell it's very comfortable.
Yes, it does. It looks, that looks like a delightful bed. But Daniel gets upset that somebody said his mommy loves him too much and decides to go on decides to go on a run. And Cherry is on the property and sees Howard sitting in a room she has not been in, which turns out to be, rest in peace, Rose's room. And she mentions that Daniel does not talk about Rose. And Howard is like, that's probably a good thing because he never met her. And like, so clearly she died before Daniel was born. I think that's new information in this scene.
Yeah.
Which makes sense why Daniel wouldn't talk about her. And Howard's like, there's enough grief between like Laura and I, like Daniel doesn't need to like take that on as well. And here is a moment, which again, you can read this a couple different ways.
Yeah.
You can read the following stuff as if Cherry is being very tactical here, like she knows exactly what she's doing and she's trying to get into Howard's good graces, or you can read this as she's just being a nice person. Again, probably a little bit of both, because she asks how he is and Howard is like, oh my god, nobody ever asks how I am. And again, like Cherry probably clocked that. She spent enough time already to know that like nobody gives a fuck about how Howard feels about anything. And then Cherry interrupts Howard while he's trying to sort of explain what he's going through in the wake of the loss of Rose. And she's like, do you feel as if your pain is less than the mother's? Or like you're made to feel like your pain should be less than the mother's. And again, I had a couple thoughts of like, ooh, she's really kind of like laying it on thick here and like really trying to appeal to this guy at a very, very vulnerable moment. But also, Cherry has lost a family member.
Her dad.
And you could kind of relate that to what she's saying because maybe people either in her family or outside of her family made her feel like her pain as a 14-year-old should have been less than her mom's pain when her father passed. So again, she could be relating to him, could just be a really nice bonding moment, could also be a very kind of yucky tactical move.
And I have to think also, and knowing that like she lost her dad at 14, it makes sense that she like, I know it's like of like losing my mom and stuff, like I end up like becoming very like talking to my friends' moms like a lot because you're like you miss that sort of dynamic. So I could see her like wanting to be like, oh, I can talk to Howard because it's like she said she was a daddy's girl, like, and she said like I can relate to the dad a little bit more. So it makes sense to me that Howard is the one that she's like drifting towards because that's probably a connection that she's missing herself.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's also being much nicer to her than Laura is. Like I would naturally go that way. The other thing too is like people who have suffered loss, they just have a shorthand with each other. Like you're able to like.
And we also don't know like the context of we know very little about Rose and what happened to Rose. And it's clear that like whatever it was tragic because this room is clearly a shrine. Like nothing has changed since whatever happened. And it's like clear, like we're seeing like all of these like little girl details and it's frozen in time.
I thought maybe she had died like very, very young, like as an infant. Or it could have maybe been like a miscarriage. Like this room clearly establishes that like she was at least a couple years old, I have to assume. And also, there's a picture of her. And then Cherry says a very poignant thing. She looks the most like you, which again, if she's just trying to like get to this guy and get him on her side, like that is a pretty pointed thing to say. She might just be being nice. It's so hard to tell with this show, which is what makes it so captivating. And then of course Howard's like, let's have breakfast. And then he offers to put Cherry in touch with his business partner who wants to get into affordable housing. So, like, that's cool. That's very nice of him.
Although, but I'm like, of course, I have to think if it's, like, a rich person getting into affordable housing. I'm like, oh, you want to, like, destroy buildings and, like, build, like, a high-rise or something.
And then, of course, Laura is like, who opened the doors to the shrine? And says, I don't like anybody going in there. And Howard's like, well, I'm allowed to go in there. And then, like, Laura gives a very telling head nod to the back of Cherry's head to be like, Yeah, but I don't want this bitch in Rose's room.
Correct.
And it's just so, so uncomfortable. I would never have it in me to be this publicly rude to someone. Laura's like, I need to speak to Daniel. Like, tell him when he's back that I need to speak to him, which tips Cherry off to be like, something's amiss.
Yeah.
What's going on? She's being like even colder than normal and like desperately needs to talk to Daniel. So Cherry goes back in their room and her Speedy Jet ticket is on top of the suitcase. This gave me an absolute heart attack. I was like, somebody went through her shit and is literally leaving like the dead horse head in the bed for her to see. That's diabolical. Like, we are no longer to the point of like unspoken stuff. Like, we're leaving calling cards. And then Cherry immediately snaps into action. She was like, okay, Daniel's gonna get home and his mom is gonna want to talk to him, so I need to use my sexuality to get myself out of this jam. And she calls Daniel and he's like, I'm up in the room. I know, this was a
step too a step too far, Aida.
Oh, our first Aida reference on the show. Cherry decides to manipulate Daniel into not having this conversation with his mother. She sucks on her middle finger, puts it down her bikini, and asks Daniel to watch her do this from the balcony, and he is thrilled. He starts giving it a toss, and they're like on the phone with each other, like all breathy, like, come here, no, you come here.
It's circumstantial. Like, we are not prudes. This is circumstantial. Like,
yes.
We know that Laura is just out of earshot. Not only just Laura, Isabella, Brigitte, Howard. And I understand that is a kink that some people have of, like, as we've talked about on Sex and the City, that is a thing that people get off on, but it's just like, knowing that this many people could at any moment pop out,
walk in. It also, again, circumstantial of like, she's using this as a tactic, not because she's like horny and wants to do this. Like, I'm sure she got there, but and then this is just so awful. While he's got his hand down his pants, his mom's arm creeps around his torso and you just want to die. Oh, you just want to die.
I crawled inside my shop. I was like, it's too much. I was nervous for a second. I was like, is she about to join in? Is she going to start?
Oh, no. Oh, God. No. And Cherry starts laughing. She immediately like puts her phone down, flips herself over. It seems like Laura caught the tail end of it, so it doesn't really matter, but she's like embarrassed and giggling. Then the sprinklers get set on her because somebody is like, you need to cool the fuck down.
Yep.
And then after the sprinkler incident, she's like, let's spend the day together. Like, let's like not do any more stuff with your family. And he's like, oh no, we have to go on a yacht. And she was like, and he was like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I have to take you on a yacht. It's so difficult. But she does then say, like, why do you have to spend every single moment with your family? Like, you're on holiday with your girlfriend. And he's like, well, actually, my girlfriend is on holiday with my family.
Correct.
And I am slightly on Daniel's side because, yeah, you're not on holiday. That's not what this was. This is never what this was. I get that you're annoyed that you have to hang out with them the whole time, but, like, this wasn't meant to be, like, your fun, sexy holiday and then his family are also happen to be there. Like,
right. It feels like a callback to the sauna line when he says, like, you remind me of her. And Robin writes like, no, she reminds you of me.
Yeah.
So it's like now it feels like, oh, Daniel's on his family's side.
Yes.
That's like,
absolutely.
and not on her side. So it shows like from her POV, he's moving towards being with his mom.
So now we are on the yacht and she is wearing the bracelet. You know, even if she found it, she didn't have to wear it, but she knew Cherry was going to see it if she wore it. And obviously, Isabella's like, oh, look, you found it. And Laura's like, yeah, so weird. I thought I lost it in London, but I guess it was here. And of course, she then stares directly at Cherry afterwards. So Cherry's not feeling great. And Howard's like, ooh, you're pretty seasick. And she's like, yeah, I'm not used to being on boats because I, earn a normal living wage.
I'm a pauper.
Yeah. I'm basically Oliver. And then then she overhears, probably on purpose. They know it's
Yeah.
a yacht. It's not like, it's a big boat, but like it's not that big. They're watching them paddleboard, and it's like, oh, they look so good together. Why didn't they work out? And of course, Cherry overhears this. And then this was a new brand name to me. I had never heard of Hunza G. Have you heard of Hunza G?
Oh, it is real. It's a sustainable swimwear. Costs roughly about like $270. I'm looking.
Yes,
Very
I did. I
cute.
did look that up. They are very cute. But of course, Isabella is like, oh, is that a Hunza G? Is that a new swimsuit? Like really trying to like dig into her of like, did you buy a nice fancy swimsuit so you could pretend to be rich? No, I've had it for a while. And then Laura's like, you look horrible. Like, don't go paddleboarding. Like, you don't look good. And like the perspective of this, like them looking down on her from on top of a yacht, telling her that she looks awful. Like, it is so...
It's so literal. I know, they can't keep their foot off her neck. Like, it's really just like, there's nothing Cherry can do.
No, absolutely nothing. And then Cherry tries to paddleboard with the, brother, sister, former hookup friends, and they zoom away without her, seemingly not noticing, and so she's like screaming after them.
I know.
And she falls off when somebody on like a jet ski goes by, and there's a moment where it seems like she's treading water, and then the next moment she sees Laura and starts gasping and waving her arm and going, help, help, help. And it's vague. You're not sure. You're like, was she treading water? Like, it kind of seems...
What's happening?
It seems a little bit like she makes the choice to start drowning, but you're like, it's vague enough that you're like, I don't know, maybe. And this diabolical shot where, from Cherry's perspective, Laura is just standing on the yacht, just staring at her.
I know.
Like, not moving, not gonna do anything to help her. But then we shift to Laura's POV.
Diana Ross, and it made me think of another Laura, because do you know what other show uses needle drop?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, in season 2 of Big Little Lies, when Laura Dern is doing that photo shoot, and she's like, it's my house,
God.
and I live here.
God, Laura Dern in that show. I miss Big Little Lies. I love that show. Laura's dancing around, enjoying having private equity. Howard is like, are you going to behave yourself and not be a total fucking bitch to Cherry?
Right.
And Laura's like, I don't know yet. And she's like, the reason I don't know is because I saw her punch someone. Like, I've never punched anybody. Have you ever punched anybody? And Howard, like, rationally is like, we don't know the context. Thank you, Howard. Sometimes men deserve to be punched in the face. So he's like, we need to give her the benefit of the doubt. Daniel's so excited. Like, don't ruin the trip. Like, please. And so Laura's like, fine. However, Isabella comes in and offers her a way to be a total fucking menace and is like, here's the thing. There was only one flight offering business class this morning, and Brigitte and I were on it. Cherry was not. We did not see, and you know how nosy Brigitte and I are. We looked all over it like she was not on the flight. And she immediately is like, I love this face. She was like, do you want me to do a little bit of digging? And Laura does not hesitate. She was like, yes. Howard told me to behave. He didn't say anything about you behaving, so, like, you need to... And then Isabella does not miss a moment, as we saw already. Like, she immediately goes and asks Cherry, like, wait, what was the deal? Why didn't we see you on the flight? And Cherry's like, oh, I get really flight sick, so, like, I got the headphones and the eye mask immediately go out. Like, she immediately knows, like, oh, I can get myself out of this. But this moment then explains a lot of what we've already seen about, like, Isabella digging into Cherry quite a bit and, like, trying to push her buttons. And then we see the tennis match from Laura's perspective, where Cherry hits that ball and it hits Brigitte in the tum/womb. And when she looks over, it looks like Cherry meant to do it and doesn't care at all from her perspective.
Yeah.
We also then get to see the much talked about Alfonso, who is like, we are eating at 8 sharp. Do not make me serve my food cold. Laura's like, make sure you make these special things that Daniel loves to eat. And he's like, I would never forget the pretty boy's favorite food.
Did you look up what a crema catalana is?
I did. It seems like some sort of like custardy dessert.
It's like it's basically what it said was virtually identical to creme brulee. So it's like from Catalana. Yeah. So it's like
Got it.
basically, so it's got a hard so that's why you can't serve it cold, because you got to be able to crack it, because like you have to flambe, and I love a creme brulee.
Yeah.
So
Timing is a very important element in fancy cuisine that is not as important when you're eating, regular food in America.
Trader Joe's orange mandarin chicken in the air fryer.
Yes.
So
Yes. Correct. That you can eat any old time you want.
Any old time, and it's the best.
We also see the opposite side of the result of the little bike skid incident, that Cherry immediately undermines Laura taking care of Daniel and is like, I mean, the man's about to be a trauma surgeon, like, cool it. And everybody else laughs. Everybody else laughs at poor Laura. So from her perspective, Cherry's being kind of mean to her.
And also, it makes sense that Laura would overreact about her one living child getting injured, because she's lost a child. We still have question marks about what the circumstance was with Rose. So it makes sense, if you have one child remaining, you're going to be a bit more protective and in a bubble, very mama bear about them, because you're like, I can't lose another one. So it makes sense what the sort of boundary she has around Daniel.
And then we see what actually happened when the Speedy Jet ticket was left on Cherry's suitcase, and that is that Laura went into their room and went through Cherry's suitcase, which is very, very, very bad behavior. She sees that Cherry's got the tag still on everything. I don't know why this Hunza G is like $100 less than the one I looked up. Oh, I guess it's in pounds. So
it's in pounds.
So anyway, she sees the tags are on everything. She sees that Cherry's perfume is a tester bottle that she probably swiped from a counter somewhere. She also sees that Cherry does in her suitcase indeed have the art magazine with the shitty reviews of Laura's show, and the bookmark in that magazine is the Speedy Jet ticket. She has found the smoking gun that proves what she suspected, that Cherry pocketed the money and took a cheaper flight. And she leaves the evidence for Cherry to see, which is pretty diabolical. Like, this is a moment where it's like, she was right, like her suspicions were confirmed, but like, you should not have gotten the information that way.
And also, if I were in her shoes, I wouldn't want to show my, poker terms. I wouldn't want to show my hand just yet.
No.
And put everything back as it was. But it was very pointed that she was like, I'm gonna leave the ticket out, because it's like, I'm telling you, I know, I know, without me having to verbally express that.
Correct. Like, it wasn't like she was caught and had to rush. Like, she clearly left it neatly on top of the suitcase. And then right after this, she hears the conversation in Rose's room going on between Howard and Cherry. And from Laura's perspective, the way she hears it is, does Laura make you feel as if she's the only one grieving in the family? Which is not what Cherry said when it was told from her perspective. This is part of what I really, really love about this show, because there have been plenty of shows that have shown two different perspectives of the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think that the thing that this show really gets right is things are said and heard slightly differently. It's like the same sort of message, but Laura, who's super sensitive about this, is going to hear it one way, or Cherry's going to say it one way. And I just think it's so, so smart, because
I agree.
This is the main issue that we have as I don't know, the human species.
Totally. Yeah.
Is language is very limiting, and we often don't say exactly what we mean because we don't have the words for it. And people hear whatever they hear. You cannot predict how someone's going to take something, and you cannot predict whether or not you're even going to be fully understood.
And your memory as well. That's why always memory, it's did you remember it that way, or have you thought of that memory in that way that supports your narrative?
Exactly.
What is the truth? And I think it's a very, like you said, it's the human existence.
Yeah, and I just think this show does such a good, the writing of it and the script is so good in that way of it's the same basic thing, but Very, very different if you're the character that's sensitive about this information. And then from Laura's perspective, Cherry did not turn over embarrassed. She kept her hand in her bikini and looked her right in the eye with this smug ass grin, which is, if true, is crazy. From Laura's perspective, this is like so fucked up. Then we get Laura's perspective on this situation, and the story continues from here. From Laura's perspective, she notices that Cherry appears to be drowning, immediately strips down, jumps in the water, rescues her, brings her back to the yacht.
It's like a literal metaphor of like, in this situation, you're either gonna sink or you're gonna swim.
Now, here's the thing. We don't know yet what the deal is with the drowning. However, we have just noticed in the previous scenes that Laura snapped into action when her son so much as got a scrape on his knee. And that Daniel was like, she likes to take care of people. She's got this trauma about her kid dying. So, of course, she's going to snap into action and save Cherry if she is indeed drowning. And again, if she is really drowning, great. Laura saved her. If it was planned, then we are purposely trying to activate a different part of Laura so that she will see Cherry in a different light, which is exactly what happens.
Correct.
All of a sudden, and this is like a credit to Robin Wright's acting, it's a subtle shift, but it is a shift nonetheless. All of a sudden, Laura is much softer. She's taking care of Cherry. Cherry is like playing vulnerable and is like, please don't tell anyone I can't swim. Like, I'm so embarrassed by it. And Laura's like, of course not. Like, let's get you the fuck off this yacht. And then we get a series of moments that, like, I forgot what show I was in because I was like, yes, we're having fun. Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, we're hanging out around Spain, having a good time. And Cherry is honest with her and says, I took a cheaper flight and I spent the rest of the money on clothing because I was so anxious to come off well and impress you. And Laura has fully softened and has, like, maybe taken into consideration that she's been too hard on her. And she's like, we got off on the wrong foot, but, like, no more lies.
Also, I love that, like, at this point, now that she's relaxed, like, Robin Wright is like, oh, I'm gonna dress like the dad on vacation now. Like, I've got this, like, silky, like, not as fitted fit.
Tony Soprano.
Yes!
Yeah, she looks like vacation Tony Soprano. 1,000%. We got the summer fedora, the silk outfit. Yeah. And so they start to have, like, a cute little mother day because Cherry then impresses the shit out of Laura by speaking fully in Spanish to the guy about the rabbits. And she's like, I love this line. I know what hung meat smells like. I bet you do, girl.
I bet you do, girl. We know you do.
We know you do. And she knows. She knows that rabbit is spoiled and it's not good. She gets a different rabbit. So, like, she negotiate. Like, this is seriously impressive. Like, this would have impressed me too. And she's like, well, my mom is a butcher. Knew it. Guessed it.
Mrs.
I know how to use context clues. Oh, yes, Mrs. Lovett. There it is. Laura's like, oh, and you speak Spanish, so you understood. And she's like, yeah, you and Carlotta slagging me off. Yeah, I picked up on all of that. And again, like, this is a moment where it's like, from Laura's perspective, Cherry's feeling very humanized. Like, they're getting along. Laura is realizing she's been too hard on her. She's like, wow, this girl's really smart. She's very impressive. She's being very sweet. That being said, what we've already seen about Cherry and through Cherry's perspective is that she does try to think a couple steps ahead and, like, try to plot things out. So she might have manipulated Laura into saving her in the water, and she might now be manipulating her into being like, I'm going to be honest with you just enough. Like, I'm going to admit that I lied about the flight because you've already caught me in the lie. And, like, that is a tactic people use sometimes of, like, see, I'm being honest. I told you the truth about one thing.
Well, and it's also, she like knows she can tug at Laura's grief a little bit as well. She misses having a daughter. And it's like, oh, now that she saved her, now, because she's like, she knows what that's like. She's like, oh, now I want to take care of you. And that's sort of like, she's opening up that side of Laura where she's like, oh, well, now let's, like, have an afternoon like I would have with my daughter.
Yes. And we go on to do exactly that. She buys her a beautiful dress and a perfume that ends up costing like over 500 euros. This is a moment where I was like, I forgot what show I was in. I was like, let's just watch Olivia Cook and Robin Wright have fun in Spain.
I know. Having a great time.
We go back to the house. They're still getting along. Laura's like, since we're being honest, like, who was that guy you punched? And Cherry was like, you saw that. That is a horrible ex of a colleague of mine. And right away, it just doesn't sound like that's correct information. Because if that were the case, I don't know. It feels like a lie said with conviction. And then, of course, we get this great moment where she says, I've never hit anyone before. I'm not really a violent person, while like slamming the meat cleaver down to chop the rabbit's head off. They're having a time where it seems like they really are getting along and trusting each other, but like you still can't be 100% sure. Daniel arrives back at the house and he's like, oh my God. And Laura immediately is like scolding him playfully, like, you left Cherry alone, like on the paddleboard. Like, how dare you? Like, she's your guest. You need to make her feel welcome. And Daniel clocks like, oh, my mom likes her all of a sudden. They must have spent some time together. And so he doesn't argue and is like, cool, yeah, I got it.
It did also kind of feel like there was this vibe. I was like, oh, Laura kind of gets off a little bit on him messing up. Like, she gets to be like, okay, you messed up. Naughty, naughty.
Yeah. She likes treating him like a little boy. So Daniel leaves. Laura's like, wow, you guys really do love each other. And she's like, I remember being that in love. And Cherry's assuming like, oh, like, you know, when you and Howard first got together.
Yeah.
Laura's like, nah. And Cherry's like, wait, was there someone else? Who was it? Which guy? And she was like, nope, it was a woman, in fact. And I love the next moment. She's like, are you surprised? And Cherry's like, yeah, you seem hella straight.
I know. That, I laughed. I cackled at that. I was like, that's funny.
And then I don't know what possesses, I don't know if it's the wine or the fact that she and Cherry are finally getting along, but like, it feels very uncharacteristic of Laura to like let her guard down as much as she does. Which is that she fell in love with this woman who, the captions actually missed this, but she did say the name Lilith, which is about as gay a name as you can give a character.
I mean, hello, the Lilith Fair.
The way she describes it, she and Howard were already together, Rose had already passed, and she was like reeling from that, and this woman that she fell in love with at art school like really helped her through that, and she says, I was going to spend the rest of my life with this person. But then I found out that I was pregnant, and that was that. I chose my family. I decided to, like, stick it out with Howard. So that explains why she's cool with him having Marianne. We have not found out whether or not, like, Laura also has anybody else that she's, like, dating or sleeping with. I was just surprised at how fully candid she was being. I was like, you really decided that you were so wrong about everything you thought about this person that you're going to tell her intimate information that your son definitely doesn't know? Like,
I know. It's wild. I also thought, well, two things. My first note was like, oh, she got pregnant and hid the gay. And then two...
Yeah.
I think the timing is interesting that it's after Rose passed. Like, because it seems like, you know, in general, it's a stereotype that, like, it happens during college or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, interesting that she's exploring her sexuality like that after she loses a child. That's something that's so traumatic. I just want to know more about Rose. I think it's just, like, once we get that, it's going to unlock a lot in this story and tell us more about what has happened.
Based on the fact that Rose has a whole room in the Spain house, it means that they were already wealthy enough to have the Spain house. I need the timeline, receipts, like
receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, everything.
I hope this gets fleshed out a little bit more. I'm sure it is because we've mentioned it, and like, this show is very smart. Like, nothing is seen or mentioned that is not going to get used later. So I'm sure we'll get more information about that. And then, of course, Cherry leans right into this and is like, your secret's safe with me, because Laura's like, please don't bring this up. Like, Howard's still really sensitive about it. And then this is crazy. Laura is like, man, I really thought you threw my cat out the window.
Little does she know.
And Cherry's like, what are you talking about, you nut? Like, what do you mean I threw your cat out the window. What? She did. She fucking threw the cat out the window. That's still, of all the things that have happened so far in these
the
first two
most
episodes,
shocking.
that still reads the most diabolical to me. Like, that's...
There was not an ounce of remorse about throwing Moses out the window. He can part the sea, but that doesn't mean, like, I know he can land on his feet, but that cat, he's gone.
Like, that was crazy. And she does not show her hand at all. She's like, you're crazy. You've had too much wine. Like, what? And then they go on to have the night of their lives, dancing around the pool. Everybody's drunk. Everybody's having fun. And then this happens, which is...
I know. I had a thought. Well, one, I was like, are they on Molly? Like, are they on drugs? And then
maybe.
And I noted, I was like, they're just dancing by the pool. I guess you can do that when you don't feel oppressed by the ruling class.
I'll always have health insurance. Let's dance.
I know. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But it was like, yeah, there's like a fisheye lens.
There's also a moment where we see all of this dancing and reveling from the perspective of being in the pool underwater. This is just a me thing, but I just don't think it's appropriate for a parental child kiss on the lips at any age. Cheek, forehead, fine. Lips, I don't know about that.
Well, okay, I know it can be normal, like, in other cultures, like, something like, but if this, it's like, they're lingering. The issue is they're lingering. It's not
the issue is, yes, and it was shot, it is a slow-mo, so it probably looks longer than it was. It's the holding of the head and the linger, but it just feels very intimate. But yeah, we dance the night away, and then it's the next morning, everyone's a little bit hungover. And Laura's like, I had such a good time. Like, we are pals now. Like, she is, like, ready to turn over a new leaf with Cherry. Daniel's very hungover and does not want to go on the vineyard tour that Howard has scheduled. And so everybody else goes off on the vineyard tour, and Laura is like, you guys should have the house to yourselves. Like, she's full 180. She has decided that, like, everything she was concerned about, like, isn't worth addressing. Like, she's going to see Cherry through Daniel's eyes, and, like, she can do no wrong.
You're free from activities for the day.
Yeah.
Get out of activities past free.
And Daniel goes for a run. Then they're left at the house alone. Everybody else goes to the vineyard. While at the vineyard, Brigitte is like, oh my God, the craziest thing just happened. Look at my phone. And she shows her mother the cake incident with the heart that, like, gushed out of the wedding cake that we know Cherry was responsible for, has made the rounds on the internet, because of course it has. Laura's like, what are you guys watching? Brigitte is like, apparently they say it was the groom's ex-girlfriend that pulled this prank. And we get a close-up of the phone. Laura realizes that she recognizes this guy. Again, I don't know. I still wouldn't be able to pick this man out of a crowd. She recognized it as the guy that Cherry punched. And then, of course, we also conveniently get the text from someone named Beth. And she then, of course, gets right in the car and angrily speeds down that dirt road, because she has got to confront Cherry about this. And when she gets there, look who knows how to swim.
I know.
Ooh. I mean, I suspected this because, again, there was that small moment from Cherry's perspective where you're like, I'm pretty sure she's confidently treading water. So Laura, of course, is like, so you can swim. I mean, that would freak me out. If I thought that I saved somebody's life and they couldn't swim and then I see them swimming, like, that would fuck me up.
Totally.
Like, that's
100%.
Especially if you're somebody who has, like, suffered the loss of a child. Like, that's... Oof,
to be manipulated like that, that's a lot.
Yeah. And then, of course, she's like, this is your ex-boyfriend, isn't it? And, like, shows her the picture. You know that she was like, Brigitte, take a screenshot and send that to me. Or maybe she took Brigitte's phone. I don't fucking know. And then, of course, this is what's crazy. From Laura's perspective, Cherry calmly, without a word, takes her time getting out of the pool, goes and gets her towel. There's also a Doechii song blasting outside. And Laura's like, I'm going to have to tell Daniel everything. And Cherry immediately, without flinching, I thought we were keeping secrets.
Chilling.
Like, absolutely chilling that she could be that stoic. Go ahead and tell him. you just dumped a bunch of stuff on me last night that you didn't want me to tell anybody. Like,
Interesting.
oh my God. And then in the middle of this standoff, sweet summer child Daniel comes back from his run, still thinking everything's cool between these two women finally, and is like, my two favorite ladies. Mom, did you forget something, or you just really wanted to hang out with Cherry? And then the lyrics to the song that are playing, get the fuck out of my home. Oof. And these two having a stare down as the episode comes to a close. Whew.
I know. It's clear, like, literally with this shot, it's like now we're setting up these two are at war.
Yes.
Like, we were playing nice, we had a nice, lovely afternoon, but now the gloves are off.
Yep.
And I am very curious to see what awaits us for the next episode.
Yeah, because now there's 4 more episodes?
Yeah, 4 more.
We've got 4 more episodes to get back to where we started with that, scary collage of screaming and knives and blood and what have you. So
I'm ready to see what happens.
Well, thank you so much for being with us on this recap of episode 2 of The Girlfriend. We will be back with the next couple episodes in a little bit. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.